Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV for pre-season action of your Raven Grafixx and eSpeed Contender series. Randy Chineth, Jake Blackhall, Hugo Louis, and even Keith Stewart somewhere along the way, bringing you all the action tonight. And season number 5 in this championship, one of the best, a lot of excitement, a lot of competitive drivers through and through, but in the end, it ended up being Keith Stewart to walk away with his own championship, if you want to phrase it that way. But coming into this season, we got some new names, new drivers, new teams. But before we kick that all off, Jake, we got the Clash and we got the Shootout tonight.
Yeah, welcome, Randy, and thank you. It's we have got a show tonight, the Shootout. It's going to be a great race tonight here. 25 laps. They've limited the fuel, so they're going to have to stop. And then that all-important Clash that will come up for $50 here tonight. And actually, the winner also of the Shootout receives $25. So if they can get both, that's a $75 payout. Not bad for a preseason run, Randy.
Yeah, not bad at all. So let's just run down a little bit about how this is going to work tonight. So typically, as we have in the real world, the Clash is going to be race number 2. That's going to be your pole sitters race pretty much from last season. But before we get to that, we have the Shootout. So this is going to be all the drivers, and we have Keith Stewart to fact check with in just a moment. All the drivers who didn't signify in pole positions. And I believe, you know what, Keith, I think you might do it best. How does race number 1 work?
Oh, well, I'll run through how race number 1 works. So race number 1, so they've just done a 5-minute 2-lap solo queue. Then they will be gridding right now as the tracks start to come out. It's going to be 25 laps, 52% fuel, no cautions, just race as they do. And they're going to see who they're going to get at the end of it. There's definitely going to be a pit stop because of that fuel restriction. And that will be one of the scenarios that will have to run down when they get the green flag. Because if there's no caution, it's going to be a green flag pit stop. The winner will receive the $25 and advance to the main race, the Clash, this afternoon. And then the winner also gets to choose another Shootout driver to transfer with him into the Clash. So maybe a teammate, maybe someone else, maybe P2. That all comes down to the winner tonight.
It's not been a great day for me, folks, I'll be honest. It's been sort of a rough one, as I was just explaining to my co-commentators here. But these trucks going to get themselves rolled off, Jake, and it's going to be 29 trucks in this one taking the green flag. So not quite a full field, but it's still going to be pretty full. And for these guys, though, having a quick 25-lap run, it's going to be pretty intense. But let's go down to your starting grid as it worked down the super stretch for the first time. Coming away with the pole position here for the Shootout, we got Doyle Lawrence in the number 8 machine, Travis Turdmeyer in the 54 on the outside. Road 2, Brent Keith and Sean Ryan with James Torrey and Chris Jennings making up road number 3. New name there in Jennings. Ian Plash and Doc Stout, another new name up on row number 4 was Timothy McQueen and Paul Bliss, row number 5. Timmy Logwood Jr. and Ryan Campbell, row 6. Perry Selson and Frank Muglia, row 7. Brett Day and Aaron Ames, row 8. Ryan Lounge and Edward Zaghetti, row 9, with Bobby Everhart and Adam Jocelyn, row number 10. Burnt Wilson and Abe Bowden, row number 11. Row 12, Brad Patterson and Glenn Jameson. Sean Miller and Randall Fox, they make up row number 13, followed by Christian Joyce, Brad Neer, and William Toney. Pace car getting ready to come down onto pit lane, and then that number 8 machine going to be in command of the field for 25 laps here at Daytona. Green flag flies, 8 machine gets them underway. Everyone from last season, as well as the newcomers here, rolling off in corner number 1, all race themselves into race number 2 tonight.
Clean start through down into turn number 1 for the first time tonight. And all the trucks trying to get down to the bottom we saw last season. This season, though, for the start and preseason, they've still got the 2 on the high side. That's Turnmeyer in that 54 truck, getting a good push from Sean M. Ryan in the 29. New colours as well that we're going to have to get used to, Randy. A couple of new liveries out there that are definitely going to mix it up, especially with these new names. It's good to see some of them already up there. Jennings and Plash, the 99 and the 94, they're side by side right now, 3rd trucks in.
Ian Plash, of course, a name I think we're going to get used to seeing up near the front of these fields. Very experienced driver in the NASCAR circuits on iRacing. I think he would be a contender all season long, but he's also a huge super speedway specialist. So I think tonight and tomorrow he's going to be seeing his name a lot. Coming across the stripe after the first 2.5 miles tonight in Doyle Lawrence, going to lead lap number 1 by 0.02 of a second over Travis Turnmeyer. But the 54 going to nose ahead into corners number 1 and 2, working the top side, getting that push from the outside of from Sean M. Ryan on the outside. But right now, Jake, we're already seeing a bit of a breakaway. We have about 15 or so trucks really in this first pack. But we have basically a second pack already starting to form from basically Ryan Lane draw back. That's from P14 on.
Yeah, from P14 on, they're about 5/10 away from this leading group of Perry Snelson, who is at the back of it. So that little gap there that they've lost, obviously someone trying to make a move or someone moving down, maybe just checked up that back of the field. So they're all single file trying to now work together. Ryan Lange is leading that one. He's got Bobby Everhart now in P2. So Frank Gamugli there as well behind those three trucks trying to sort themselves out. A little bit of a wiggle there from the 85 truck. That was Paul Bliss on the inside lane. Just caught that yellow line on the inside, but side by side still out in front. And it's Doyle Lawrence in that 8 truck still leading the way, and it's always a good start to the season when you have him out in front.
That it is, but Turnmeyer gets a big run coming off onto the super stretch, and the 29 machine of Sean Ryan getting a big push to the 54, not quite able to get the job done though. So Ada Lawrence going to continue to lead the way here through corners number 3 and 4. And let's see if he's going to come down onto the front straightaway. Does the 29 and the 54 machine, will they be able to say anything about this? Chevy versus Toyota out front, and still Doyle Lawrence going to lead another lap here tonight. No one quite having anything to really say about it. We have the 99 though. He's moved inside.
Wreck.
Outside. Big wreck, 2, 3 cars, one upside down.
Big wreck, middle of the field. A lot of trucks involved. The big one early in the shootout tonight. Unsure as to who it was that kicked that one off. It definitely looked like maybe a bumper hook going down into turn 1. Looking at the 33 truck of Timothy McQueen. Just looks like coming into turn... Oh, that was actually from the high side. That was more Ryan Campbell there. That was an interesting incident there going into turn 1.
Yeah, not sure what the 5 was doing there. Not sure if he didn't hear that he was clear or if he had some sort of issue. But the number 5 swung definitely way down to that low line, hooked to number 33, and that's sort of silly incident to kick off what would be the first yellow of the season here, Bobby.
Yeah, it looked like they had a little trouble there. I'm not real sure what happened. I haven't looked at it yet, but definitely glad to be here with you guys. And just want to make mention that the 11 drivers from the Clash are not actually in the shootout, so that's why we're about 10 trucks short. So we'll see them in the next one.
Yeah, the Clash is, of course, going to be all of your pole sitters from last season. Should be, if memory serves, Bobby, it's been an eventful day, so I apologize. Pole sitters from last season, correct?
That is correct. All the pole sitters from last season, and the winner of this event gets to choose, as you said in the pre-race, anyone he wants from the field to go with him to the next event.
So Lucky 13 getting their way into this next event as we're working our first caution of the night. This is going to bring us to probably about 17 laps to go. And Bobby, let's talk a little bit about this. You know, we have this little break, so it's actually quite nice coming into the preseason here. What have we had happen in the offseason? What do you think of some interesting changes to this championship from what we're going to see from season number 5?
Yeah, there were quite a few changes, Randy. Overall, we really overhauled the entire rule package and took some input from across the field. Basically did a questionnaire to everybody and included some of it into the thought process behind the rule changes, and one of them being no chat allowed during the event. So we've taken the ability of the drivers to intercommunicate away, so they have to actually compete along the same lines of what real NASCAR guys do. They can talk to their teammates, but they can't talk to the other drivers in the field during the event. We feel like that would eliminate some of the issues we had and give them a new clean sheet of paper to start a new season on. You know, it should be really good.
So interesting pit stops taking place. Perry Snelson actually missed his box, so he exits pit lane as the leader, but he will have to come down pit lane because this is a fuel limited race. Doc Stout is next off. He also missed his box, so that's 2. The 54 Turnmeyer is the 3rd in line. He was running 2nd. He got that one legitimately. Great pit stop there by the 54 Jake to get himself out in front.
Yeah, good job from the 54. I think he was just leading Doyle Lawrence coming onto pit road, so I think he had his nose ahead when that caution came out. Having a look back at that caution as well before, it was a little bit of an interesting one, maybe a hardware failure or something on the lines of I'm going to get the names mixed up because of all the new numbers and stuff. Ryan Campbell, sorry, on the high side. So there's a little bit of an interesting incident there. A lot of trucks involved, and those trucks are now going to have bit of a tough night. Definitely going to lose out what they could have tried to get that win, because they're going to have a lot of damage to try and get repaired. But right now, Turnmeyer will lead them through, I'd say, because Stout and obviously Perry Snelson, they will come down pit road. They're not going to make it on fuel from here to the end, so they're going to have to pit, top it up with gas, and go from there. So that's going to move them to the back. So Perry Snelson, one of those trucks that usually has their way to the front, he's going to have a little bit of work tonight.
So Steers leader is going to come down pit lane as expected. They're going to have to restart from the back. This is going to work out for them in the long run because, well, you don't want to have to make a green flag stop, and no one else should have to stop anyways. But lights are going to go out on the pace car. And just bringing it back to you here, Bobby, who I'm going to call Bobby and Keith back and forth all season long. Just be prepared for that on our broadcast. What do you think are some of the most exciting changes that we're having coming into this season? We have new drivers, of course, new teams. Who or what do you think are you most excited to see in action?
You know, we do. We have quite a few new drivers. Actually, I think there's 8 rookies and then 32 drivers from last season actually returned. I don't think there's a weak guy in the rookie class. We had a strong rookie class last season, and I think it may be even stronger this season. So it should be purely entertaining. I think they're going to give the veterans a run for their money, and I think we're going to see a unique season. It's a short season, so it's going to be a different thing. We're setting up for a long calendar year season come next season in 2018. So this was kind of a short run to get it done before Christmas.
This one's slightly shorter, 17 weeks, 17 races being scored. We kick it off, of course, tomorrow night at Daytona International Speedway for the Raven Grafixx 300, and we will finish it off December the 20th at Homestead Miami Speedway. That's where we will crown this champion. So, lights are out on the safety car as we're working through now quarters number 3 and 4. Leaders get swap positions here, and we probably have some jostling through the mid-pack as well. But for the most part, they're going to be as they ran here. Pace car getting ready to come down onto pit lane, and for the second time tonight, we're going to see this field get released for green flag running. This time, though, it'll be the 54 who lets them loose. Pace car on a pit lane, fielding command of the 54. Travis Turnmeyer gets on the go pedal. Green flag flies again. We are green here at Daytona, and a good jump from your leader in the 54. But Jake, that's not always what you want here at Daytona, because as you open that big gap to, say, Brent Keith, you know he's going to be able to suck right back up to the back of you at the draft, and if he has an open door on the outside, could try to swing and move on the high line.
Yeah, and here he comes with that run on that low line, getting a massive shove from the 99 behind him of Chris Jennings. Jennings got in the back of Keith on the exit of turn 2, got a little bit of a wiggle. That actually held up that inside line, and here comes Doyle Lawrence from massive shove from Sean M. Ryan in that 29 truck on the high side, moves down, takes that inside line, and now is at the point. 29 leading that high side now. Going to see what he can do with James Torrey behind him in the 2 truck. Those two on the high side, very quick trucks, and they'll be ones you'll want to be seeing at the end and maybe able to do something with this run on the high side. But a clean restart there, Randy. Only got around about 19 trucks now on the lead lap after that first instance. 18 trucks, I should say, after that first instance. So we lost a good chunk of the field there, but still 18 trucks fighting out for this win.
Out in front, we saw the number 8 machine of Doyle Lawrence. He got himself back to the point, and the 29 of Sean Ryan almost close enough to get clear and sweep down into corner number 1 and take that inside line lead spot away, but wasn't quite able to do so. So because of that, Doyle Lawrence still continues to lead the way here at Daytona. Into 3 and 4 they come for the 9th time tonight, coming to the 10th lap. This time, Sean Ryan losing out on the momentum, of course, on the top side, which we generally expect to see coming off turn number 4 again. And you see a big gap open up for the 8 of Doyle Lawrence. But actually, that inside groove hiccuped a little bit, not quite able to keep the momentum up. So the 29 might be able to make a move again going into corner number 1, but actually, no, doesn't have quite the speed up on that top side from the 2 of James Torrey. He's going to be the pusher right now to be able to really get clear and make a move here, Bobby.
Yeah, he definitely is having a good run. Hopefully they can keep some momentum going and try to get by him on the outside there.
And for you, Bobby, you know, me and Jake have watched this championship for the past couple of seasons now. We've seen, you know, half dozen or so super speedway races. How much different is it being in the truck and realizing that, how difficult is it, say, being on that outside line trying to make a pass, and how difficult or easy is it to be able to sit on that inside groove and just defend?
You know, the inside groove seems to have the advantage when it comes to the outside groove. you can get the runs down the straightaway, but the inside takes the momentum into the corners. It's really a seesaw effect, and it takes a lot more trucks on the top to make it work than you can get by with on the bottom.
So as these guys come up off corner down the Daytona Super Stretch once again, Doyle Lawrence still able to have good, strong positioning here, and Sean Ryan not quite having the speed to be able to get clear. And now actually we see a bunch of cars fanning out up on the top side, 3 or 4 deep into the pack. They had to basically check up, and that outside line basically turned into a bit of a crowd for a moment as they get themselves reformed up. And as we've seen in this championship, Jake, that's going to hurt them in their ability to make a move, because even though that's 3 or 4 spots deep, that actually does potentially impact the pace of the 29 machine. But that said, Sean Ryan gets a good run, and he's almost about clear of that 8, but again, not quite able to do so. I think if they hadn't had that shuffle in the back, we might be talking about a 29 machine currently leading the race.
Yeah, that little momentum that they lost, even though it was 3 corners back, it's still that little bit, but the 29 moves down on the back straightaway. The 29 now, Sean Ryan to the point of that inside line. Now Tory leading that high side. There's a little bit of a bubble between Paul Bliss and Ian Plash on the high side. I think Ian wanted to go to the middle and maybe make it 3 wide. I don't know whether Paul knew what was going on in that sort of moment. Maybe had a little bit of a hiccup himself. So they got it formed back up, and that moved the 29 back to the point, coming across the stripe to complete lap 12. To start lap 13, and already halfway in this race. And James Torrey now high side, he's getting a good shove from Paul Bliss in that 85 truck, maybe through 1 and 2, not close enough this time to get the momentum run, but now they're 3 trucks strong. The 35 has sort of dropped back a little bit on the high side. That's Ryan Lange up there. He may have to drop down to behind Randolph Folks in the 4, because that top side now does not have as many trucks as it did before, and not enough momentum to be able to get alongside that 29 out in front, Randy.
Top side as they run, James Torrey, Paul Bliss, and Ian Plash. So Ian Plash has found his way through this field just a little bit, got himself somewhere in contention. He was isolated on that bottom side for a while. Now he's up near the front rows of trucks, starting to really push with people and trying to make that outside line work. But as Jake just said, they're only 3 trucks strong, and even just a single truck advantage on the bottom can be a huge disadvantage to try to have to work from, especially if you're unable to keep yourselves relatively evenly aligned. As you see that middle truck, Paul Bliss, a little bit loose through 1 and 2, and because of that, that top line has to fan out a little bit. Now you see Doyle Lawrence, the 3rd truck in line, turns into the 4th truck in line. He takes the point down to Daytona Super Stretch, gets a big head of steam running into corner number 3. Will the 8 get clear? No, he will not, and because he has to take the long way around, he's just going to fall back, and it's going to be 11 to go at the stripe.
Good move though from Doyle Lawrence. Good awareness that he could see that top side was where he wanted to be at that moment. He moved up, nearly had the run on Sean Ryan. He's actually going to lead the lap across the stripe, so if he can do that again at the end, he will be in the winner's circle. But at the moment, he has to try and fight off James Torrey, giving him a good shove through 1 and 2 at the moment, into 1 and 2. Sean Ryan on that inside, still holding tough with Termite. They got a little bit of a break back to break Keith. And then Randolph Folks is a fair way back, Randy. But Randolph Folks has come from 26 on the grid. That number 4 truck is back at it again, and he's going to keep moving up. As Doyle Lawrence looks like he might be clear as Termite gets bumper hooked.
And he saved it.
What a save from the 54. Actually, he's sliding through the grass. He's still half sideways, trying to keep that truck below the yellow line so we don't get a caution. It's still below the yellow line, still green. No caution as of yet.
So everyone's scrambling for position. You see the 54 of Plash, excuse me, the 94 of Plash. He goes down to the bottom behind the 29 of Sean Ryan. He instantly took that opportunity to get to the yellow line. The problem is, I think, Jake, that was a little preemptive there, because the 2 trucks in front of him were able to get clear of that 29, who is definitely slow. They're going to be almost 3 wide down the back straightaway. 29 dipped a couple wheels under that double yellow line and almost got passed by the 92 up on that top side. So the 94. Still learning the new numbers, folks, as we almost had a very hairy situation, but we see now that top side trying to get formed back up. We have 4 trucks up there currently. You see a big head of steam for Paul Bliss, who currently leads, pulls up alongside side by side. And I think this is what I was talking about with Ian Plash here, Jake, because he had a point where he was about 3 or 4 trucks deep in that high groove. That bottom line just fell apart when Turnmeyer got loose, and he just seemed to just immediately jump down to the bottom, and he sort of locked into the same place, just in a different line.
Yeah, that's one of the things you don't want to do, and that's where your awareness, like Doyle Lawrence knew what to do. He went high side at that time, coming down the back straightaway a couple of laps ago, and knew that was the point where he needed to be at the moment. That was one of the things. Ian Flash just made that wrong move, went to the inside, and that sort of hurt him at the moment, sitting 4 trucks deep on the inside line. Now, Paul Bliss on the high side, the 85, has got a good truck behind him, Randolph Folks. We know that 4 truck can get to the front. Let's see what he can do on that high side and try and get something working with that 85. They're there or thereabouts, coming up to start lap 18 now, and these trucks, a little bit of a sort of 9 truck group. They've got a massive breakaway back to the rest of the field, but that's sort of the 9 trucks that we think can get this one done, and any one of them can get it done. And if these couple of trucks behind, I don't think they will, Ryan Lange and Bobby Everhart will close that gap. So it should just be a 9 truck race to the end unless we get a caution.
If we get a caution, it's important to note it'll likely come from this group with the way they race, and we don't really have a close other fight out there. We have a couple small packs, but nothing quite like
this thing. Little bubble again,
and there it's gonna come.
Oh, they managed to all save it. Tory and I think it was the 29er Sean Ryan got into the back of each other. That one sort of chain reaction. Ian Plash with a lot of damage to his 94 truck as well. The 32 still green, and then a big crash again.
8 machine of Lawrence goes around, so we have a multiple trucks basically potentially getting taken out of contention here. Doyle Lawrence is in an issue. We just saw Ian Plash get into one, the 63 of Jameson. He went around as well. A handful of trucks, big problems. This was the 63 hooking himself on the 8.
Yeah, big wreck coming down on the front straightaway, looking at the other ones and coming through the tri-oval, the 63. I think he may have thought he was clear and was going to drop in behind Randolph Folks. And that was it for that incident there. And Doyle Lawrence got a big hit from Sean Ryan as well, coming through that tri-oval. And that's a massive incident, going to bring out our second caution of the night. I think we may get a couple of laps there at that sort of point now, Bobby, where it's going to be, or Keith, I should say, we're gonna get mixed up all the time. Now that we come down to this sort of a point in the race, Keith, and a lot of the times you're usually the one that would take the gambles on 2 tires, and we'd always be wondering what you would do. How would you go? And the 2 has blew in his engine at turn 4 before the incident as well. So that brings James Torrey out of this one for this race tonight. So he may be unlucky not to get into the clash. Still had a very strong truck, which will be good for tomorrow night. But Keith, coming into this situation, they should have enough fuel to get it to the end. Do you think you'd come down because of there's only going to be maybe 15, 14 trucks on the lead lap? Do you maybe come down and put some 4 tires on it and get a little bit more gas just to be safe?
Boy, I tell you, I mean, if you got enough fuel to make it, I would probably stay out and take my chances, because it's going to be a 2-3 lap shootout at the most. And I don't think tires are going to do much for you here because it's such a short run, and some of them probably took tires under the other caution. I've seen some trucks changing tires, so I would go for it. If I was out there right now, if I had enough fuel, I'd just stick it in there and go. You could see how they were racing. They were racing aggressive, but that's the nature of a shootout race. You got limited time to get it done.
Yeah, it's exactly the way it's going to be. Chris Jennings had a little fake to the inside. Sean M. Ryan, obviously, with a lot of damage to that 29 truck. He is going to come down and surrender that 4th place position out on the racetrack, but everyone else looks like they're going to stay out. So Aaron Ames, actually coming down pit lane. His truck's pretty clean. He's going to come down, though, from that 14th position, going to get some fuel and tyres on that truck. Termeyer as well, and Doyle Lawrence, those two involved in earlier incidents. Randy and coming down to get as much as they can. But Paul Bliss right now inherits the lead after all that, rookie with Randolph Folks. But seeing Randolph Folks behind you, I think you'd want to be on your game, because he's going to be the one that's going to be trying to get to that front pretty quick.
Certainly, if you see Randall Falks behind you, you know that there's a very good chance he's not going to be in that mirror for very long. I mean, there's some interesting names out here near the front. You have Paul Bliss and Paul Bliss. We have a rookie there. Chris Jennings, a rookie there. Ian Plash is in 6th with damage, a rookie there. Ryan Lange in 7th, a rookie there. A lot of new names, Jake, in this championship, coming out strong in what is essentially their first race of the championship. Have one leading here for the shootout, and have a veteran like Randall Falks, we saw have a very strong season last season. Then you have Brent Keith, Glenn Jameson in the mix. Kind of a bit of a who's who from last season, as well as some new names out in front now.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of new and old, obviously, coming into this season. And that's what you want to see. You want to see these new guys starting to make a name for themselves. Even though it is only pre-season, but it's only a short preseason. Tomorrow is the first round of the championship, and these guys want to make sure that they have everything sorted before you go into that big 300 at Daytona. It's going to be a big race there, especially to start out this season. You get that all-important win at the start of the year, you're most likely going to have a spot in that chase coming down to the end of the season, because it is a shorter season. There's not going to be that many people getting that all-important victory to make it in, so it's definitely going to be one of those races, being that wild card at Daytona, that you're going to have to push. And everyone, I think it's going to be a very intense race. It always is, but just knowing that it's a short season, you get that win, I think it's definitely going to be one of those things that people look out for.
And definitely talking about tonight, Bobby, these guys come across the stripe here to begin lap number 22, and the pace car's light stays on, which means they're probably just got the 2 to go. Should be the 1 to go green next time by after they cross the stripe next time. That means they're going to be coming to the green flag, ending lap 23, coming to lap 24, which means it's going to be a 2-lap shootout here. And for any of these guys, 2-lap shootout, even if you're one of those trucks that's down on one of those later packs, anything can happen. Any of these 18 trucks that are currently still scored as on the lead lap could potentially walk away with the win, because we've seen pandemonium happen at the Daytona International Speedway before. Just ask the Yarboroughs and the Allisons.
Oh, absolutely, man. And, you know, with our restart rules this season, the initial green flag is on the flag stand, and then after that, every subsequent restart, the leader controls the restart. So Paul Bliss is going to have control of this restart and could totally dictate the outcome with less than 2 laps, or really a green-white checker. So it's going to be interesting, and as they say on television, on the real shows, I would be interesting to find out if they make it back, is what they usually say.
I was worried you were going to say boogity, 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 and that would have really upset me. But for these guys, what's it like here in this situation, Keith? Because obviously, I mean, me and Jake, we do our endurance stuff. We don't really have these caution periods in any endurance leagues, especially, you know, not coming to a situation of you're going to have 2 intense laps. How is it under caution, mentally trying to get yourself into the right frame of mind to know that you're going to have to just go out and for basically a minute and a half in these things be absolutely perfect and try to come away with a race win? I mean, you were super strong in the super speedways always, and we saw some late race restarts last season. How difficult is that to keep yourself calm enough, but to also know that you have to step through any open door that presents itself?
Well, you know, yes, it's sim racing, and you know, for some of the viewers out there that maybe are sim racers themselves, while it's sim racing, everybody puts their heart into it, and I know for sure all the guys in this particular series, they put a ton of time into testing and working together and perfecting the art of setting up these trucks. And when you put that into play, anytime anybody puts a lot of effort into something, it really, you know, gives you the heartbeats that skip a beat. You know, you get the lump in your throat and all this type of stuff when you're doing this, because let's face it, man, this is our passion, and this is racing. It may be digital racing, but it is racing. And I'm pretty sure these guys are up on the wheel right now and probably putting some indentations in the steering wheel. They're ready to go, so it's going to be real interesting to see how it pans out.
So hearts are probably pounding for sure, especially if you're someone like Paul Bliss. Come out your first, well, let's say official race of the championship, coming in as a new rookie, and to lead some laps and be in a very good opportunity to win this thing, and especially to have someone on your outside in that Ford truck like Randall Fox. So these guys going to drop off the banking coming off of corner number 4, and Paul Bliss will be in command of the field in a couple moments time. It'll be the last green flag for race number 1 of the night. Next yellow will end the race, and if we make it back to the line after 2 laps, it'll be finished under green. Green flag flies. Paul Bliss gets the field running across the stripe and into corner number 1 yet again. 5 more miles here in Daytona for Paul Bliss. Let's see what he can do, but the Ford Randall Falk has a bit of momentum early here, Jake.
Yeah, that's Paul on the high side. A bit of momentum from Brett Keith. The 2 drivers on the outside have been in this series for a long time. The 2 on the inside, rookies, and they're bumping through 1 and 2. A little bit of a bump again between Randall Fox. Bumper hook Bliss. Big wreck in front of the field. Big one. There is the caution to finish the race. I do not know who's going to get that one, but there's a multiple of trucks. The 85 of Bliss around. I think the 99 rolling down the back straightaway. A lot of trucks involved in that one.
Will it be Lange? Lange is rolling into 3 and 4. He's clear and away. So it's going to be interesting to see what the iRacing's timing decides to do here. Ryan Lange, though, he's going to come off of corner number 4 on the lead lap from position number 7, and he will essentially inherit the lead here. But let's see what iRacing timing and scoring is going to do and who they're going to end up giving this to, because it's at the time of the yellow. And I think, Keith, you as the series admin, you're happy that it picks the winner automatically rather than you trying to sort out who was the lead in that melee.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I'm just... it might be sim racing, but I hope everybody's okay. That was pretty big. But yeah, you're exactly right.
So we saw, of course, Randall Fawkes with big damage. Ian Flash is still out there and running. He's got his motor popped. So all these guys are going to be working themselves back across the stripe. They're just now about to get to that pace car. And it's going to be interesting to see, because these guys are going to need to have to catch up unless these guys are scored in the positions they are, which I'm not sure, because I've seen these situations pop up before, and they can be confusing. But I think 35 might have done it.
I'm having a look now. I'm actually doing the good old NASCAR way and looking when the yellow came out on the lights on the wall. And having a look at it now, it actually looks like Ryan Lange is in front of everyone in the incident. The only other person I think that would be close would be the 63, Glenn Jameson, but I think he got around him in time. So Ian Flash, looking at this image that I've got now, right when the caution flew, looks like he should be in front.
Said Ian Flash or Ryan Lange?
Ryan Lange, sorry.
Confusing me here, Jake. So Ryan Lange in the 35, those guys who were caught up in that incident, they caught it to the pack and they are not passing the pack. That means from 7th in the grid, the number 35 of Ryan Lange is going to lead 2 laps, both under caution. He's going to win the shootout here from Daytona after 25 laps. Bobby, what do you think's going through his mind? He was in the middle of the pack, probably thought there was no way he could race his way through that thing, and he just drives his way through. He might have the only clean truck still out on the racetrack. I don't think he... Oh, no, the back bumper is tweaked. Never mind. He messed up.
Yeah, he made it through. I'm very surprised, but it's a good win for Ryan, and I'm going to go over and talk to these guys now and get set up for the next race, but great job for him.
All right, Bobby, you have, well, good luck with the next briefing. Post-race and then briefing for the next one. And I know you want to mentally prepare for the next race. So we're going to let you go here. Good luck in race number 2 in that 16 machine. And good luck to tomorrow night if we don't get to talk to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate being with you, and we'll see if we can go get them.
So Ryan Lange in the 35 steals a win. We were talking about a rookie maybe winning this thing, Jake, but I don't think either of us would have ever picked the 35 as the one to do it when they were coming back to green.
No, definitely not, especially from 17th on the grid. 7th on that restart to come away with that win. It was one of those things, but that incident was a big one to start off this season. But the 35, Ryan Lange, going to burn him down. The winner of the shootout, the winner of $25, advances into the clash, and that's going to be a big one. 20 laps in the clash. Could be a little bit more spicy than what we already saw tonight.
Yeah, it definitely could have, as he's going to burn him down in the grass here at Daytona. As he gets ready to start finishing up the donuts, we're going to get an onboard replay with him as he went running through that incident after the drop of the green flag. He actually restarted in the 7th spot once they get themselves back to green. So it was a pretty big breakaway for him. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but Moses parted the Red Seas in front of him at some point. But let's see exactly where that ended up happening. They're gonna, as on my end, they're coming off the banking now in corner number 2. That's where all the incident started, and really, he just basically like a running back from the backfield here, Jake. He just broke to the outside, and he caught some good blocks, and everyone else went up top. He basically just cruised around on the bottom to get himself right around that incident.
Pretty much, that's exactly what he did. He just went as low as he could, realized the incident was going to be up high, and just worked his way around it. And it was unlucky for Jameson. He just got hooked. That actually set him up to the high side. Otherwise, he may have won this one over Ryan Lange. But Ryan got away with that one, and he did a good job as the melee happened behind him, smoke and damaged trucks, and some of those trucks are definitely going to have a long night ahead. Maybe get out the backup for tomorrow's night race.
So with that, let's go down your post-race results for race number 1 of 2, your eSpeed shootout here today. Next race is going to be the Clash. So the 35 of Ryan Lange comes strong. Well, he wasn't super strong. Qualified 17th and was inside the top 10. but the wreck happened in front of him. Right place, right time. He found the open door, and he ran through it to come away with the victory tonight. So he will transfer into the next race, as well as one other driver of his selection to join him to make up a 13-truck field. Doc Stout will finish P2. Adam Jocelyn in 3rd. Travis Turnmeyer 4th. 5th, we have Aaron Ames. Joyce in 6th. Snelson 7th. Day in 8th. Randall Fox in 9th. And Ian Plash will round out the top 10. Rest of your finishers coming up on your screen here. Thank you for joining us for race number 1. We'll be back for race number 2 shortly. Welcome back here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live as coverage continues from preseason night here in the Raven Grafixx and eSpeed Contender Series. We just had the shootout. That was basically everyone who was in the championship except for those who had a pole position last season trying to race their way into this race. And well, I've lost my normal co-commentator, but we've got someone who didn't transfer in the last race, someone you might know very well. It's Gerard Chevette himself. Ian, how you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Literally climbed out of the truck, and all but 5 seconds later, Hugo had me by the collar and dragged me right up into the booth. Didn't even get a chance to get out of the fire suit. But we're here back at Daytona. The sun has set on the speedway, and now we have the best of the best from last season. Gonna duke it out for 20 laps here at Daytona.
Yeah, so for those who are unaware, these are going to be all the drivers who got pole positions from last season, as well as 2 drivers from the shootout race. They all transfer into the Clash. So the 2 drivers who transferred, of course, one of them, Ryan Lange, who came away with the win. The second driver was a driver of his selection, and he chose the number 62 of Doc Stout. So those 2 guys, they're going to be in this field. The other drivers that would have qualified are, of course, all drivers with pole position from last season. Someone we are expecting to not see, though, Travis Townsend, who's taking this season off here, Ian.
Yeah, shame we won't be seeing him out here, but we still got a pretty solid roster of drivers out here. A lot of these guys I was seeing in the previous test runs as well. These guys all have a lot of speed. Don't be surprised if you see the 31 of Brandon Holder, or anybody else from American Motorsports for that matter, really stepping it up tonight, because so far, everyone that I've seen on the track, they have the juice. They definitely have what it takes to make the passes, stay up front, work the lanes. Should be an interesting race, though. 20 laps is not that long, and you really got to be aggressive, make moves as fast as you can, where you can.
So the full list of other drivers we're expecting to see: Chris J. Britt, Keith Stewart, who we know is here tonight, Tim Marlowe, Everett F. Lane, Bart Marak, Brandon Holder, Ivan Trum, Travis Townsend, William Toney, Jason Sizlove, and Doug Lemons. Those were the 11 drivers coming into this race that were eligible to run in this race just based on their performance last season. As we said, Townsend not participating, so we're down to 10 plus 2. So we're expecting, like I said, 12 trucks tonight. I believe we currently have 11 in the server. We're going to be going green in just a moment's time. And normally, and this is around the point where we start going over the grid, but here for this 20-lap race with such a small truck count, completely randomized grid for this event tonight, as the, for the main event tonight.
Yeah, it definitely adds a really interesting dynamic to this race. You don't know if the guys who have the better speed are going to be starting up front or in the back, and vice versa. You really just don't know. It's all randomized. We're going to find out here in just a couple of seconds just exactly how this grid is going to stack up. But either way you look at it, though, I think with this lesser car count compared to the shootout, you're going to see a lot more moves being able to be made up towards the front. The gridlock might not be as severe with less cars out in the track, so we could be in for a pretty exciting race, Randy.
That it could. The 10-minute warm-up has just completed, so we should be getting all these trucks on the grid in just a moment's time, and when they actually roll off, when we get the official grid, is when we'll go down that starting line. But talking about a race like this, Ian, I mean, such a short race, how does the mindset have to be different on the super speedway? You just said, you know, because of the lower truck count, you might have more room to move around, but what are some other things that these drivers might be looking to do in this race that might be different from if we had a full pack of 40 cars?
At this point, I think if you get a good run with someone pushing you on the high side, trying to get a run on someone to make a move, I think the third lane might actually be viable, depending on just how fast these cars are going to be going, or these trucks. Rather, speed's going to be down just a little bit in comparison to a full pack, but maybe not so severely. Regardless, definitely look for that third line to come into play, especially late in the going with like 5 or 6 laps to go. May see some guys start venturing out towards that top side and making the move. Drivers now getting into their trucks. We're going to get underway here with the grid.
Yeah, we will go down your race grid here as we now have it. So, cue the music. There it comes. Your starting grid for the clash here tonight. Everett F. Lane high rolled the starting position. He will roll off from pole. Last season's pole sitter, in fact, for the season opener at Daytona. Last season's winner, William Toney as well, will start off on the outside of row number 1. Doug Lemons and Brandon Holder, they make up row 2, with Tim Marlowe and Doc Stout row 3. Ivan Trum with Keith Stewart row 4. Ryan Lange and Bart Marak row 5, with Jason Sizlove being the final truck on the grid, the 11th spot. Only 11 trucks taking the green. And Ian, the 24 is in his pit stall. He missed the grid.
That is unfortunate. Looks like he's going to have to start all the way at the back of his field. He's not even going to get the chance to start with the field. He's going to be praying for a very quick yellow, you got to imagine. It's a real shame pole sitter not going to be able to start on that front row where he got selected.
Yeah, that's a sad feel when you roll the 1 in 11 and you then miss the grid, and now you get to start from the pits. So the number 70 machine of Doug Lemons, he is now going to be your lucky pole sitter starting in that top spot. Now the number 70 machine been very competitive in this championship, and I think we're going to see him be strong tonight. But all these guys, I mean, you're throwing 9 pole sitters, a race winner from the shootout earlier, and 1 random driver. Almost always going to be a quality race for a 20-lap shootout.
Oh, absolutely. We got the best of the best from Season 5 out here on this 11-car grid. Looking to put on a nice show for you guys. 20-lap warm-up before we go into the big show tomorrow. We go racing for 300 miles here at this racetrack. Lots of excitement to come here in these 20 laps. You got to believe these guys are going to be looking to make the moves as early as they can to get up to the front. So those laps you have, like, honestly, if there's a caution with 5 to go, you may only have 15 laps in this race. This is a very short, very fast race. It's going to be very high intensity, high energy. Pace car coming off of turn 4. We are getting ready to come to the green.
Pace car getting ready to duck on to the pit lane here at the Daytona International Speedway. Here it comes. Green flag is in command of the sim, and it flies. Doug Lemons is going to lead them across the stripe for to start lap number 1. 87 to William Toney working the top side, getting a push from the 31 of Brandon Holder already. So we're already seeing some people working together. That's giving the 87 a huge run of momentum into corner number 1. Not quite able to get clear though, so he's going to have to stay with that top side. But the 70 doesn't have the help that William Toney has on the top side yet, Ian.
Yeah, Tim Marlowe did not quite get the good enough jump to stay on the back bumper of the 70, and that's going to be advantageous for that top side. William Toney to the lead in the 87 with the help of Brandon Holder, but now Holder is in the catbird seat on the high side. He's got help from the 62 of Doug Stout. He's the guy who advanced from being selected by the winner from the last race. He's looking to show that that pick was not just a fluke, the fact that he wasn't able to make it on time. He's got a fast car. He's looking to get that thing back up towards the front. As we come to the line to complete lap number 1, 87, William Toney will complete that spot in front.
2.5 miles down with 19 laps to go. William Toney leads that first lap, and now the 31 machine trying to work that top side. He's getting a push from Doc Stout, the driver who is selected to run into this race. They're going to come down your back straightaway here. Such a small fieldy, and I have to say, I think these guys are going to be relatively patient with how they make their moves. The fact of the matter is, even if you're at the back of the pack, only 5 or 6 rows deep, and granted 20 laps isn't a long time, but it's not like you're having to drive your way through, say, a 30 truck field. I think it can be harder, even with double or triple the amount of time to drive through a larger field than it would be to drive through a field of this size.
Yeah, knowing you have the assurance of not dropping all the way back to the 30th or so position, trying to make a move on the high side, go to the middle, wherever your move may be, they're more encouraged to start making these moves. You actually might see some of these guys start peeking to the middle, start maybe trying to get in the third line going, because yeah, the penalty for making a mistake and not getting that pass done is really only minus 6 or 7 positions if you're up here in these front 2 rows. So lots of aggression already as Doc is all over the door of the 70 and all over the back of the 31. Lots of pushing while these motors are still cool, trying to get the most ground they can get out of these race machines.
We saw the 31 get a little wiggle there, but that's Brandon Holder getting pushed by the 62 with Doc Stout. Because of that, I think the 31 may have had an opportunity to make a pass, but that little hiccup definitely would have hurt his momentum. But William Toney is going to say thank you for that and continue to lead the way here out in front of the clash here. Coming across straight to begin lap number 4, and let's see if anyone's going to get a strong run. The top side somewhat fanning out. You see some people almost looking at ultra high lining, and that's the 16, Keith Stewart, up there on the top side. I think it'd be a little preemptive to go to make it 3 wide just yet, because you can almost make it work. But that said, everyone in that top line, they're almost going up to the wall, and that's really hurting that top line's momentum, having to come through that ultra high line. But look at the run they get as they come down off the banking. 62 is Stout pushing the 31, and the 16 of Keith Stewart throwing his hat in the ring to help out as well. Will Holder get clear of the 87? No, he will not. So they're going to have to somewhat reset here as they work themselves through 3 and 4.
Yeah, whatever Holder is losing through the center of the corners, he is getting back in dividends down the straightaways. That thing just takes off when you got a car behind that 31. Really starting to pull that high side right back up to the door of the 87 once again from 2.5 car lengths back in just a mere half straightaway. Just really shows the power that 31 has, but maybe not quite up to speed through the center of the corners. Once again, you're going to see there a little bit of a bobble actually that time as Doxson gets shuffled to the top side. He's going to be looking to pull jump to the back here with no help, and just like that, the top side is going to start dissipating a little bit as well. And just like that, Doug Lemons is actually going to start looking to maybe look high, but he's going to cut back down behind that 87. 28 is going to take the advantage up in front of the 31.
28 of Tim Marlowe is going to take that opportunity to try to get to the head of that lead pack, and I have to say, I think that's a good play by him. Jump himself up, and now he puts himself potentially into a position to win. And 70, Doug Lemons sees the momentum of the top side. He puts himself in the middle. Doug just basically isolated himself. The 28 machine and Marlowe almost in the wall. They're 3 wide across the stripey, and you said we might be able to see this. They're trying it. We got 3 rows of trucks here going to quarters number 1 and 2 live from Daytona. Door-to-door contact between Lemons and Marlowe through 1 and 2, and it doesn't seem to be working really. That inside line seems to be the prime place to be. That ultra-high line definitely didn't work out. Now we see the 3 of Ivan Trum. He jumps up to the middle groove. Big head of steam for Ivan Trum coming across now down your back straightaway. Move him to the point. He drops down and just gets clear as they work into 3 and 4. 87 of Toney gets a little bit tight, but in that worked out relatively clean when it's all said and done.
What a power move by Ivan down that back straightaway. He just had a full head of steam with a really big draft in front of him, and he pulled up almost 5 or 6 car lengths out of 2 to make it all the way to your point down the back straightaway and into 3. He's still now going to hold the lead, but don't look now. Doug Lemons in the 70 now with help from Keith Stewart, who paid that 3 wide game patiently as well. Decided to go to the middle and get on the back bumper of the 70. That's going to put him up plus 2 spots now up in that 4th position. But look behind him, Ryan Lane in the number 9. Your transfer from the last race now sitting top 5 as the field starts to bunch up heading into turn number 3.
Ryan was always thereabouts during that first race, but he was never someone who's really in with the leaders to maybe have a chance at the win. He basically just took the opportunity of the wreck, got himself through it, and basically stole the win away from everyone else. just like that. So I'm not surprised to see Ryan not up with the leaders, really pushing and shoving to get there. He played it really patient in that first race and expecting the same here. Those who are wondering about our 24 machine who didn't make the green flag, he is out and running, but he's about a whole full straightaway back. He's just working himself down, actually, the back straightaway right now, the Daytona Super Stretch. These guys are working themselves, I believe, coming off of corner number 2 right now. So he might be getting himself lapped here fairly shortly. I lied. This is corner number 2. Ian, I'm lost.
It's understandable. You're not really used to these ovals, Mr. Road Course Ringer over here. And it was notable that Austin mentioned as well, Doc Stout in the 62 was shuffled out of the lead pack as well when he had that little bit of a hairy moment on the top side, maybe 4 or 5 laps ago. Found himself in the wall a little bit, and that's going to drop him now out of that lead pack. So Everett and Doc have got to be praying for help at this point. Whoa, Ryan Lane really making an aggressive move. Gets his left sides on the apron, gets pretty loose through the center of the corner, but still holds on to it. And he's just really starting to shine that nose in the bottom. He's looking to move forward in a hurry. We're almost coming up on halfway, Randy.
Gonna be halfway in 2 laps to go. Gonna be lap number 10 next time by, as Ivan Schrum is trying to make that number 3 great again as he works himself on the inside down the Daytona Series.
Oh, there they go.
There goes the 87. He gets hooked down, and he's gonna get spun around, and it's just gonna be a solo truck incident, no big contact. And based on where the 87 is gonna land, he might be able to get clear and roll in. We're gonna stay green tonight. Also have Doc Stout just came down pit lane. Not sure what was up with the 62, but we have everyone out and rolling still clean and green.
Yep, Flagman keeps that yellow flag in the holster. We're going to stay green as we cross the line to start lap number 10. But what a tough break for the 87 of William Toney, the car that was pretty dominant for the first quarter of this race. A lot of speed in that machine, you'd like to think. A little bit of contact with the 9 down the back straightaways. It started bunching up. That's going to see him spinning around, but luckily only a 1-car incident as we work down the back straightaway on lap number 10. The field's starting to fan out a little bit, but just like that, looks like the 70 is going to lose his help from the 3. He's going to jump in front of Keith Stewart now and try to get his shove up to the lead. Across the line, this time by Popsicle Sticks will be in the air. We are halfway done.
Something to keep in mind, Ian, these guys are on a 35% fuel load, and even with a 20-lap race, that's going to be an issue. Do you think these guys will be able to make it from the end? And if they have to come down pit lane, when would you make your stop?
I think right about now is your time to pit, or you should have done it earlier with a big pack of cars, but it looks like these guys not being able to communicate with each other. It's a new rule this year where the drivers don't have car-to-car communication, rather. They can't exactly decide when they're going to pit. They all need to do it together at random points, so you got to think these guys are just going to look to run these tanks to the dry point and maybe pit on that lap together unanimously. They just don't have the ability to say, hey, this time, and that's really going to start throwing off the communication with these guys. But 35% fuel in these fuel cells is definitely not enough to make 20 laps.
So the first driver to come down pit lane was the 62 at Doc Stout, and he's actually about to lose a lap. So this is basically disaster, and this is what you're talking about here, Ian. The fact that if you don't have anyone to come down pit lane with you, you're basically going to be a sitting duck. You're going to see that field now as they come through the tri-oval 3 wide for a moment, put that 62 machine on lap down. He's going to have no one to really meet up with. It'll be the 24 of Everett F. Lane here in just a moment he could meet up with. The 24 are completely out of contention, though, and the 24 is also going to have to pit in the next couple laps, so it's not an ideal situation for either of them. I think the 62 definitely blinks a little bit too early on that one. He's now working lap number 12 of 20 down this long back straightaway. We're waiting any moment now for everyone in this field to come down pit lane, but they're still fighting tooth and nail out in front. And that actually is another thing to think about here, Ian. With such a short race, those guys on the inside are going to be aggressive all the way through. It's going to be real difficult to get to pit lane from that outside line.
Yeah, we could very well see a 2x2 gridlock start shuffling their way down the track and coming together. And many times before we've seen on the iRacing service, whether it's iRacing Live, your random C-Fix, B-Fix races, that usually causes calamity as almost contact down the front straightaway. Keith Stewart wasn't quite able to get clear of the 70 with his pushing partner, and Ivan Schrum gets into the door of the 70, or very lightly rather, but they once again avert chaos there. And geez, these guys are playing with disaster. Lots of really aggressive driving early in the going, but somehow these guys are managing to keep it green here. Still a decent amount of trucks here in this lead pack working lap 13 now. You got to believe those pit stops are coming, Randy.
And they have to be coming soon. That was an aggressive move by the 3, leading himself down to that inside line of the 16 to Keith Stewart. He's going to be thinking for sure, when does he come down pit lane? Let's see, anyone come yet? No. These guys are definitely pushing it to the limit, the absolute limit, when they can come down onto pit road here. And let's see, they're going to come across the stripe beginning lap number 14. So 7 laps to go as they run. And I think the fact here, Ian, that we're seeing everyone's really trying to get themselves to that low line. See right now, basically everyone running the bottom, no one really running the top. The top groove is sort of fanned out. Keith Stewart has lost a lot of speed. I think he's just trying to get himself to the end of the line to pit. And you see everyone going to that bottom. I think we're going to see all of these trucks come down pit lane this time by.
Yeah, this could be it. Keith Stewart still stuck on the top side. Not quite clear to give a 31, but 31 is trying to let him in, I think, but Keith not getting the memo. Car single file coming through turn 4. You have to believe they're going to make the hard left-hand turn into the pits to get a little bit of a splashes. Here's they come. Hard on the brakes out of 4. Looks like everyone's going to be doing it clean so far. 44 coming in hot on the inside of the 9, but he's going to manage to get the thing rolled up in time. Yes. Real big pack of cars coming in, but they do it cleanly. And also worth noting, Keith Stewart and Bart Murak still staying out in those 2 cars trying to gain a bit more time.
16 in the 45, 2 of the final 4 last season in the chase. 2 of the drivers who raced it out at Homestead, and those guys came up very, very close. Shrum missed his pit, so that's going to be a race-ending mistake for him. The 24 is down pit lane as well. The 70, he gets out of his box. Brandon Holder gets out of his box. Big run from Ryan Lange, though, on the pit exit down on the apron. Look for that number 9 machine to work some momentum, and now it's going to be all eyes on the 16 and the 45. These 2 have to be absolutely perfect as they're going to come now off of corner number 4. They're going to come down pit lane side by side. 45, though, really deep on the brakes. Is he going to get that slowed down in time? Yes, he will, but he definitely left that to the last moment. Definitely can't see the 45 losing much on pit entry there. He basically drove around the 16. But these 2 are really the ones to watch right now, as the rest of the 5 are out there on the racetrack, coming through 3 and 4, already up to full tilt.
Yeah, he got through there just about the best you could on entry, right down to 60 at the line.
Oh, he missed his box. Bart missed his box.
He did miss his box. He backs it up there, not quite getting it in time. That's definitely not going to be good for him.
And Bobby's taking tires.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It looks like he's not going to be able to merge with the pack in time, as they're already working across the front straightaway. And so is the 45. He is not going to make this merge as well. So just like that, 2 very crucial mistakes are going to cost them the win here, as we're working lap 16 already. Only 5 laps to go.
Big mistakes coming out in such a short race, and this is the sort of race where you cannot make those sorts of have those sorts of issues. 5 laps to go, 5 trucks in contention as they run. Jason Sizlove, Doug Lemons, you have the 87 of Tony up on the top side, 31 of Holder on the bottom in the middle, and Ryan Lange is the 3rd truck on that bottom groove. So it's 3 trucks on the bottom, 2 trucks on the top, and we're going to see the 31 of Holder actually jump up to the top side after that top groove basically fans out a little bit. The 31, he wants to try to use those 2 to leapfrog him to the point. He's going to lead the lap as they come across the stripe, and he's going to get just about a truck length ahead, but will he get clear down the short chute into corner number 1? Yes, he will. Move the 31 of Brandon Holder back to your race lead.
That was a fantastic read by the 31 of Brandon Holder. Really read the fact that the bottom side was not getting tight. The top side started getting a run out of 4. He took that advantageous move right away, jumped to the stop. 44 almost thinking about doing the same. Not quite clear of Doug Lemons down the back straightaway. Also worth noting, we're within 4 laps to go at this point. The caution comes out. The race is over. These guys are absolutely battling tooth and nail, just trying to be up front, because at any point it could be over. So you have to be there at like every single inch of this racetrack, because you never know what's going to happen here in the closing laps.
So they come off corner number 4 and coming across the stripe through the tri-oval now. Going to be 3 laps to go at the line, and everyone's going to get themselves fanned out single file here, Ian, and that's not definitely ideal. But really, with it just being a 5 truck count now, it's really going to be difficult to make that high line work. Even, you know, especially when your number is deficient. It's easy to say make a 19 truck strong high line work if there's 20 trucks down on the bottom. You don't really notice a 1 truck difference there. We see the number 9 machine of Ryan Lange, your race winner, your transfer spot from race number 1. He's going to decide that his time to make a move, and he's going to put himself to the race lead. Does he get clear of the 31? He almost did, but he hesitated, and that's going to cost him, as the 31 Holder are going to drive right back up alongside the number 9 machine off of corner number 4 and down your short chute towards your tri-oval. The 9 might just be able to nose ahead and lead the lap here, and that's going to be important when we come across the white. But 2 laps to go. Who's going to be able to get it? The 31 gets now 1 truck length clear of the 9 machine on the top side.
Almost had the opportunity to jump down. He did appear to be clear into 3, but just did not have the opportunity to jump down. And just like that, he lost the opportunity to make that move with 1.5 to go. He's starting to drop back, with the 44 is looking to make move high. He's going to take a crossover to the 31. Come back to the outside. Contact is made down the back straightaway. The 44 goes around. Yellow flag is out. Your race winner is going to be Brandon Holder in the 31.
31 of Holder gets through, and he's going to hold on to that race lead, and we're going to end under yellow for the second time tonight. But let's take a look back and see what happened in that issue that caught out the 44 of Jason Sizlove. He saw Sizlove really go for aggressive move down the back straightaway, tried to sling down to the inside on the 31 of Brandon Holder. Holder blocked it off, and he basically, the 44, tried to sling right back up to the top side and drive around him, and he just bumper hooked himself on the 9. Really kind of all on the 44 there, Ian, trying to be super aggressive. He was almost clear. It's only about a couple inches that he actually tapped the 9 machine, but it was just enough to send him around. Sometimes, even with 2 laps to go, got to be a little more patient than that.
Yeah, definitely had a little bit more time to make the move, but he was definitely being very aggressive down the back straightaway. Many separate crossover attempts. Not quite getting to get him in the position he needed to be, though. It looks like he could have maybe got in front of the 9 if he didn't make a little bit of contact with the 31 when he got to the inside of Holder. Definitely lost a little bit of momentum there, maybe just misjudged it a little bit. Came back up the racetrack and caught the left front corner of the 9. Really good effort, though. You have to applaud him, though, because in a race like this where it's win or nothing, it's all about going after it. I got to give him credit.
Yeah, no points on the line, of course. This does not affect tomorrow in any way, shape, or form. And with 2 laps to go, I think everyone would try to make a move to get themselves the money prize here tonight. But sometimes you make a move like that, and you end up giving the prize just right over to somebody else. The number 31 of Brandon Holder, super strong all night, rolled off 4th, and was always in those top handful of trucks from the drop of the green flag. He's going to come through the tri-oval after 20 laps, and he's going to win the Raven Grafixx and eSpeed Contender Series Clash from Daytona. So he's the big winner here on the preseason night, Ian, and I have to say, he's likely going to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that was one absolutely fantastic performance. Got to give the move of the race to his pit stop attempt, though. Definitely gained a bunch of positions going in and out of the pits to put him right back in the spot he needed to be to contend for that win. Really good job by Brandon Holder. Got a very fast machine. You have to believe he and a bunch of his other teammates are ones to look out for come our 300-mile race tomorrow.
And really, I'd have to say, of this 20-lap race, I would say the defining moments came down on pit lane and the issues people had. We saw in that first group, we saw Ivan Trum have an issue on pit lane. He lost out on a whole bunch of time. And then, of course, we saw that second group come down and be able to extend that extra lap of Keith Stewart as well as Bart Marak. We saw both of them make some sort of mistake on pit lane. We saw Bart miss his box, and we both watched Bobby Stewart jack up the left hand, I believe right and left side of that car. So he took tires, may have got a penalty as well. Maybe that's why he took tires, but he had a long stop regardless. But, I mean, you have to be perfect on these super speedways on pit lane on a race of any distance, nonetheless one this short. But the 31 Holder, he's going to come out and he's going to start burning them down here in the grass here at Daytona.
Yeah, definitely with the 20 laps we had tonight on the slate, there's really no room for any error at all. And you saw it right there, it was practically a caution-free race. So you make one mistake at all in those prior 18 laps, your chances of winning are effectively eliminated. 31 is going to jump on that horse, and the 31 definitely did a really good job. I have to give him credit. But yeah, it really just took that perfect drive out of Brandon Holder, and he definitely was able to pay it off at the end there, and he wins our 20-lap shootout here at Daytona.
That he did. And now with that, let's go down your post-race results after the short little clash race live here from Daytona. Brandon Holder comes away with the win tonight, with Doug Lemons finishing in P number 2. Bart Marak goes from 10th to 3rd, and actually that's a really good result after the mistake he made on pit road. Ivan Trum finishes 4th, with Keith Stewart rounding out your top 5. Tim Marlowe will come away in 6th, Doc Stout 7th, Ryan Lange 8th, William Toney 9th, Everett F. Lane 10th, and Jason Sizlove. I almost said Jason Sides, getting a little bit World of Outlaws in the brain, it seems, but he will round out the 11 truck field tonight. We're going to step away for a few moments' time on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. Join us for the post-race show here called Moments Time. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live as post-race coverage is beginning here from the E-Speed Clash, the preseason race at Daytona. That the 31 to Brandon Holder came away with the race win. And you know what? Let's just get right into it. We're stood by with the 31 of Brandon Holder. Here he is. And Brandon, what a way to start off the season, bud. Come out here the night before the season opener, the 300 miler at Daytona, and you come away with a win in the preseason race. How's that 31 car feeling?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. I don't like it to win them that way, but I did what I had to do to win.
Well, it happens. But like you said, you got to do what you got to do, and you come away with it. And how is, tonight being such an odd format, 25 laps with most of the field earlier on, and then this race, such a very small grid with a very short race. How does your practice from tonight, how is this going to translate going into the big show tomorrow when you're going to have both fields combined? You're going to be going for a 300-mile race. Does much really translate? Does it really prepare in the same way? Or is it going to have to be a completely different approach?
I don't know how much you can learn in a short race like this. The practice race we had Monday night, got some good information there. I think the team has some very good trucks, and we look forward to tomorrow night.
So for that 31 machine, you're of course very, very competitive all of season number 5, season 5 being your rookie season here in this championship. And you guys at America Motorsports, it's yourself, Sean Ryan, Timmy Logwood Jr., and Chris Jennings. For yourself, coming from last season, as a rookie, and then bringing out, say, having a rookie on your team this season in Chris Jennings, what are you going to do yourself to get him up to speed and prepared and get him competitive in this championship?
Well, Chris is a great driver. He don't need a lot of help. He's a great setup builder. He's going to be a definite asset to the team. So I look forward to help that team out a lot.
Well, that's awesome, Brandon. Good to see you jumping in and giving help where it may be needed. But congratulations on the big win tonight, Brandon. Good luck to you in the rest of this championship. But before we let you go, who'd you like to shout out? Who'd you like to thank this evening?
I'd like to thank Yosemite Mountain Escapes, Ben on Chrome, I Take Computer Service. Want to thank Timmy and Sean and Chris for the work on the setup during the week, and also Tim Marlowe and Randall Fox. I think we're going to be pretty strong this year.
All right, thanks for joining us again, Brandon. See you next time.
Thanks, bud.
Moving on down the line, Mr. Ian Plash. He's going to be stood by as your second place finisher. Ian, you got the 70 of Doug Lemons.
Yeah, anytime you had the camera up on that top 3, top 4 battle, there usually wasn't a frame where you didn't see that bright green, orange, and white number 70 of Doug Lemons battling for the lead up front. And Doug, really strong performance out of you tonight. Walk us through your night and what you were seeing out that windshield all night long.
Oh, I had a pretty good tune. Seemed like every time that I'd get a run, I couldn't get anybody up on my bumper real hard, so it just didn't work. And when I was in the lead, I just got freight trained. It didn't seem like anybody really wanted to work with me.
Yeah, noticing that the draft package we're working with tonight and for the majority of this last couple of builds here on the iRacing service, it's really difficult to sometimes get those runs, get the guys up on your back bumper. That being said, though, with all the experience you've learned through tonight, through many practice races and whatnot before, how confident are you feeling going into the big race tomorrow? 300 miles is a long time at Daytona, and you've got a lot of time to make the moves.
Well, it's a roll of the dice anytime you go to Daytona or Talladega. To finish first, you just must first finish. That's the old saying, and sometimes it's hard to do.
That is, especially in a very chaotic place like Daytona where you got everyone on top of each other. You and I both know that very well with many of our past runnings at super speedways for many years here on the service. And got to mention the rest of this season now, coming up on the 6th season over here at the Raven Grafixx Contender Series, and you're always a very competitive truck here. How is the 70 looking going into this year?
Oh, I feel real confident. Got a lot of base tunes. My teammate Perry and Nick Holslander, they're pretty good tuners, and I think we'll do just fine.
Oh, that's excellent to hear, Doug. Well, before we head over to our 3rd place finisher, Mike's all ears. Sponsors, shout out. Now is your time.
I'd like to thank Keith Stewart for what he does, RaceSpotTV for what they do, obviously Raven Grafixx. I know it's a big logistic thing to pull all this stuff together and get everybody together every Wednesday night, and just a shout out to everybody that does it.
Well, starting his season off on a good foot, Doug Lemons going to be finishing the second position here in our Daytona Clash at the Daytona International Speedway. Going to throw it over to Randall, who's caught up with your third place finisher, Bart Murak.
Yeah, I'm stood by with the number 45 machine of Bart Murak. And Bart, you and Bobby definitely went for the alternative strategy, going one extra lap than everybody else. But unfortunately, both of you made mistakes. Bobby had to, for some reason, took tires, and you ended up missing your box. I'm sure that don't feel good.
Well, that's racing. This happens. We're a little rusty right now.
Yeah, it's been a long off season. What's it been? I think 2 months, 2.5 months since we've spoken.
Yeah, I should have practiced pitting a little.
Yeah, it can be difficult out there, especially you have to actually use the brake to come down pit lane, not just keep that foot planted. But that number 45 machine, Bart, you had good speed all night. I mean, you started 10th and you finished in 3rd, so you definitely had some good pace. But how is that 45 machine working, looking to run this season? And really, what are you expecting with your teammate number 54, Travis Turnmeyer, over at Wet Paint Racing? We saw you have a super strong year last season, but Travis Turnmeyer, he, kind of a downer season, I think, overall from him, constantly getting into bad luck. Think we're going to see some more of that from Travis, or do you think he might catch the right dice rolls this season?
Well, Travis is learning every year. He's only been in iRacing for a year and a half, so every last season was, a learning experience. I think he's going to make the top 12 this year pretty easy.
Well, big words coming there from the number 45, which means that Travis is probably listening, probably going, Bart, why did you say that? Now there's all sorts of hype living up. But Bart, congratulations on what ended up being a good third place run tonight at the end of everything. Good luck going into tomorrow and the rest of the season. Who would you like to shout out, though, and who would you like to thank?
Well, thank you guys for putting on the show, and I just want to say we're sponsorless this year, so anybody wants to get on my truck, you can contact us, and maybe we put you on there.
Well, maybe we might have to do that. Hopefully somebody listening can definitely help you out. But Bart, good seeing you. Hope to see you run strong tomorrow night.
Thanks, guys.
Now moving on down the order. We're going to have Mr. Ian Plash. You're stood by with the number 3 machine. That's going to be Ivan Trum.
Yeah, Ivan Trum, really strong showing tonight for that 3 machine. Lots of time up in the front of the field, but looks like a little bit of a hiccup on your pit stop around lap 15.
Yes, sir. Missed the brake bias on that one. Slid through my box, cost me the race. So that's the way it goes, though. It's racing.
Yeah, it's really tough, especially when you have very little time to make that one single mistake. As we were mentioning before on the broadcast, 20 laps, not that long to get it done, but out there on the racetrack, I'm not going to lie, that 3 machine was definitely getting every single inch of the track wherever it could. How is that thing feeling going into tomorrow's race?
It's feeling pretty good. It's got speed in it. No more than anybody else has in the field. It ought to be a fun race tomorrow. It's definitely going to be a blast to get back into points racing and see where we can land.
Yeah, watching you out there at the track as well, I have to note that you were working with many different people out there on the top side, shuffling to the middle, to the bottom. Wherever you wanted to put it, it seemed like you had a lot of help. You've been taking notes on who you're going to be working with for the next couple 300 miles here tomorrow?
Well, I got 5 cars tomorrow I'm going to definitely be working with in the Daytona 300. So I got some good teammates out there, and we'll get it done.
That's awesome to hear. Lots of confidence out of this 3 machine going into tomorrow's race and the remainder of the season, so it would seem, with that kind of tone. Real quick before we send it off to Keith Stewart, our 5th place finisher, got to ask you, anybody you'd like to thank for your performance tonight? Sponsors and shoutouts, now's your time.
I want to thank Full Throttle Motorsports and White Knuckle for all the time these guys are putting in, the turning laps and building setups, and just being the greatest team I've ever been on. So, it's a good thing.
All right, well, Ivan, thank you so much for the interview, and thank you for your time. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, well, we now have the 5th place finisher, Keith Stewart, on the other end of the mic with Randy.
Yeah, I'm stood by with the 16 of Keith Stewart, last season's champion. Bobby, this race I think didn't pan out the way you would have wanted. You were looking quick there with Bart. You definitely went for that optional strategy, going that extra lap. And you definitely you guys both had the fuel to make that work. You didn't run out, but you ended up taking tires on pit lane. Did you actually just speed and take tires regardless, or was that just the mistake in and of itself?
Oh boy, head down moment. Yeah, it was a mistake. No excuses. I recently did some stuff on my computer, I guess, and it looks like my app INI file was set to not auto clear my pit stop, and I set my fuel, never looked at my tires, and didn't realize I had 4 tires ready to be put on the truck, so that's totally my mistake, and I hate it because it messed up Bart's race too. It would have been really interesting to get out there and run those last 3 laps and see what happened, but hey, you know, that's racing, and I probably had a little bit of lack of focus with everything I was doing tonight between the sessions and everything, and that may have contributed to it. But whatever the case, we'll move forward into tomorrow night and start racing for a championship again.
Well, don't feel too bad, Keith, because when Bart came down pit lane, he actually ended up missing his box. So it wasn't just your mistake that cost him anything. So don't worry about that too much. But for that 16 machine, I know it's been an easy offseason for you. A lot of the members of this of the league can essentially, you know, kind of kick back during the 2-month or so break that we have here. But I know for you, it's a busy offseason, getting all the, you know, figuring out who to invite, getting the invite sent out, you know, getting the rookies in, who's coming back, and new teams, and yada 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 yada. I know it's a busy off season for you. What are you really looking forward to most in the first official runnings of season number 6 to see that all really plan out?
Well, you know, you hit the nail right on the proverbial head there. It's always more work to do these types of things during the off season to get it all ready to go than it is once it gets going, because all of your events are scheduled, you know, everything's panned out, and you're really just dealing with the business of running the league, and that's when it kind of starts to get in fluid, and you can really go through the motions, and it all just seems to happen without much effort. But just looking forward to getting it going. And I know these guys, you know, the shootout races and stuff are fine. They're a great way to get it going, but this field seems to be all about points racing, and the guys will take a different mindset into that race tomorrow night. That's the way it's set up. You know, it's a long haul, and we got 10 races to get into the chase for the championship there, and I think it's going to be probably one of the most epic seasons as far as a dogfight to do that. So looking forward.
Now, looking towards tomorrow, Keith, I mean, there's a handful of single truck teams in this championship, and you're probably one of the favorites, being a champion from last season, someone who had a ton of awesome races last season based on every kind of racetrack. You were good at the super speedways, you were good at the small tracks, the big tracks, even the road courses, where, you know, another place you really step up your game. That 16 machine, you're probably one of the favorite solo car efforts going into this season. How's that 16 machine feeling? How are you feeling going into the points championship? You think you have a chance to defend this title, especially since we're missing Mr. Travis Townsend this year?
Well, you know, I feel pretty good. I think with a lot of the rookie class, you know, let's face it, they're not really rookies, they're just rookies to this season. We got some really good talented guys that have joined this season, and I think they're really going to mix it up for a lot of us veterans. There's going to be a couple, 3 less spots in that championship chase of 12, you know, going into the first round than what the veterans are probably used to. So I've really got my eye turned to that. I know what the existing competition does, but you never know when you add quality drivers to a league like we've been able to do this season, and they get used to how we do things. All of a sudden you got a whole new ball of wax, and I'm just gonna set up the best I can and take a positive mindset into the races, and wow, try not to make mistakes like I did tonight. That would be death in one of our races, as it was tonight. So you know, pretty much the only reason I wound up talking to you guys now is because it was an 11 or 13 truck race. That's the only reason I made the top 5. So it should be a lot of fun to defend the title, but it's going to be a challenge. I think it's probably going to be the most difficult title defense anybody in this series has ever had to do. So if I could come away with that at the end of the season, I think it'd be probably a more proud moment than winning it last season.
Well, thanks for joining us, Bobby. Congrats again, of course, on last season, and congrats again for you as his head series admin and getting this all together and being able to see your work pan out here tonight. Before we let that 16 truck go, any shout-outs tonight?
Definitely, and first of all, thanks to you guys at RaceSpot. Everything you do here to make this happen, it really puts the chrome trim on it, if you will, and makes the series that much more appealing to both sponsors and viewers, as well as the drivers. So thanks to all you guys for what you do and keep coming back and putting up with me. So I really appreciate that. And got to thank my sponsor, Kuro Carbon, out of the United Kingdom, debuting them here tonight. Proud to run with them on the truck, and hopefully can give them some wins and give them something to cheer for this season. That'll be fun. And want to real quick thank Doyle with Raven Graphics for the title sponsor, and Yosemite Mountain Escapes, Glovebox Racing, Intensity Motorsports, and Lone Star Rod and Custom for the Rookie Challenge. And let's get it on. Tomorrow night's the night.
Thanks for joining us again, Keith, and look to see you in that 16 machine run strong all season.
You got it. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate everything you guys do.
No problem. Now, normally we just do the top 5 tonight, but due to the doubleheader format, we're going to get one more interview rolling. Ian, you're stood by with the winner of race number 1, who thankfully took it away from you so that you could join me. You're stood by with Ryan Lange.
Not salty about that at all, Randy, with Ryan Lange now.
I'm not salty at all.
Oh, I believe you're not. Anyways, Ryan, very up and down night. Definitely did a great job missing that wreck and taking home the win in the shootout earlier, but now we're looking at the truck here on jack stands to complete this end here in the garage. Not so good shape, but very strong showing for you all night long. How was that 9-car performing?
Yeah, I'm not upset with the finish. It was just good hard racing there with Size Love. I probably would have done the same thing that he did. He was just trying to gain a position, just misjudged his distance a little bit. No hard feelings. Looking forward to next week. As far as this week, truck got better as the run went on. Ironically, I was a little nervous about how the long run was going to hold up, but it was there for me. I got lucky in the first race, right place, right time. The second race, I think I had a good shot at the win. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, definitely looking to have a very competitive showing with this much momentum coming out of the shootout and the following race here tonight at Daytona. Definitely looking forward to a good race tomorrow. 300 miles. It's going to be a very, very long race come tomorrow. Definitely going to have to shake up how the drivers look at this race. How are you going with your mindset into that race? Are you looking to stay up towards the front, maybe play it safe and run towards the back until the end? What's the Nine Machine looking to do?
It's a very good question. Originally, the train of thought was just go back and ride for the first half of the race, keep my nose clean, and log laps. But after seeing how the truck was running tonight in the pack, I might want to try and get up front and stay up front.
Yeah, now this being your first year also in the Contender Series, I believe they're with you and your team looking to maybe mix it up here and show that the rookie class is quite the strong one. I, coming from that class, can also vouch for this. I think we have something for these veterans. How are you looking going into the rest of the season? Have you been doing a lot of extensive testing, getting prepared for this? Because I'm sure as excited as you are, I bet.
Yes and no. Yeah, I think the rookie class it's stout. Outside of the Contender Series, I've run with a lot of these guys in the official races, and we are all very, very competitive. I think it's going to be very close by the end of the year. As far as testing, it's probably a little bit more than what I'm usually doing. Now, instead of setting a truck up for the official series, I got one more major league to set up a car for. Not a big deal though. We got enough guys on our teams that we all have our set things that we have to work on for each upcoming race, and hopefully we keep the chain of command open and communication between the teams open.
All right, well, before we let you go, got to give you a big congratulations for winning our first race tonight and having a really strong performance for the Clash the remainder of those 20 laps. Real quick before we let you go, though, sponsors, shout out anybody you'd like to thank for getting you here.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jepson Malort. I've been running their sponsors for the last couple seasons in iRacing. It seems to make a good paint job, and it's one of my favorite beverages out of Chicago.
All right, Ryan Lange, driver of the number 9 machine, brings it home in the 6th position here tonight in the shootout, but more importantly, your race winner from the earlier 25-lap dash before we got to the big show. So, Randy, very exciting, high-energy night, we must say. Got to believe that going into tomorrow's 300-mile event, rather, it's going to be probably just as intense for all these drivers out here.
Definitely right about that, Ian. I mean, 300 miles, it's going to be an intense night. And, you know, for you, Ian, I mean, you're sort of filling the commentator role now, but I think you know firsthand someone who's going to be partaking in that race and this championship. Tomorrow night is going to be a really stressful night for these guys. Tonight was probably a little bit fun, you know, shake some of the rust off and really get yourself back in the action. But tomorrow, you can't have any of the mistakes we saw some people have because you not only have a finish position and maybe lose a chance to win a little bit of cash, also have points on the line.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm not much of a suit and tie guy. I can't wait to throw the race suit back on and get out there and tussle with them tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a very long event. You got to play it patiently. But all in all, if you got 10 races to get into the chase, so if you can get a good point stay out of it as well, you always got to take that into account with the short season we have leading up to that chase. So it's going to be a very interesting format. It's going to be a very stout, tough competition with all these rookies and all these veterans here, and I'm just really looking forward to it. It's been a long time wait, and it's time to get this thing rolling.
I'm looking forward to it as well. And if you all are looking forward to it, be sure to join us tomorrow evening for round number 1 of season 6 of your Raven Grafixx and eSpeed Contender Series. Same time, same place here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. Thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll see you tomorrow for the big 300 miler, the Raven Grafixx 300 live from Daytona. See you then.